Wholesaling Inc's official land coach, Mr. Brent Bowers. Wholesaling Inc has some amazing coaches, man. Chris, Brent Daniels, two Brents over there. So I'm super excited to have him on and reconnect. It's been awesome catching up here the last couple minutes since we last spoke. Longtime InvestorFuse guy, Mr. Bowers. How's it going?
Really good, Carlos. Hey, thanks so much for having me on your podcast. This is awesome. A couple of years ago when we met, I didn't realize I'd actually be on your podcast.
Yeah, a pleasure and a privilege, man. Happy to have you on, and just a genuine group of people over there at Wholesaling Inc that are always just trying to genuinely help people and improve their business, improve their lives, everything like that. So I was excited to see this meeting come across. Absolutely love the shirt. I'm hoping I can get one shipped to me in Baltimore for land
Hey,
for
I
land
already got your
stuff.
address.
Love it. And I think that's going to be a little sneak preview of what we're going to be talking about, guys. And let's start with that. I mentioned you're the official land coach for Wholesaling Inc. Big congrats to that. We've had Brent and Chris on the show before, I think, and Tom Kroll, actually. I think we've had Tom on as well, Cody Hoffine. So we've had the whole squad here on the show, and they're very well known in the space for helping a lot of people. But would love to hear, in addition to the coaching, everything that you have going on right now, and then we'll kind of unpack your story and what has led you to success.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to share with your audience what we're doing. As you well know, I was doing houses and apartments and wholesaling. We still have that branch, but I'm really excited about the land thing.
Love it, man. So let's talk about how you got into land. You mentioned doing single family apartments, everything like that. How'd you get started off in real estate?
So, you know what? I bought my first house in 2007, and I had just gotten my real estate license as well. And I actually thought I had to have a real estate license to kind of, see the deals coming across. So I actually saw a deal come across, or something I thought was a deal. And it was time to put a contract on it. I put it under contract. They accepted my offer. And I had a challenge. My first challenge as a brand new real estate investor, and that was coming up with a $1,000 earnest money deposit. So I call great grandma and say, hey, can I borrow $1,000? Don't worry, I'll pay you back because I'm a realtor. I'm the buyer's agent for this. I'll get a commission. She goes, well, if you don't, it's coming out of your inheritance. Well, I did pay her back when I got that $3,000 something commission. But I never saw that inheritance. So I think she was just trying to trick me into paying her back. But that was the first time I pulled the trigger. I'm now in. I'm a landlord. I'm learning through the gutter. The path to success is literally through the gutter. Well, fast forward many years later, I'm like, okay, it's 2013 because I had joined the military and was out of the country for a few years. So I took a break from real estate. And I'm back. It's 2013. I buy another house. I house hack, and I'm noticing one thing as a landlord. I'm always broke. I'm always I'm always maxed out on my Home Depot card, maxed out on credit cards. I was like, how do I pay these things off? So I was looking into something called wholesaling. And I was like, well, man, you don't have to have any credit. You don't need any money. Yes, you do. You got to mail. You got to be talking to people. You also need time to make these deals happen. So I was haphazardly getting wholesales happening and met Tom Kroll. And we literally built a system per his advice. I think it was one of his first students back then in 2013, but we set it off. The wholesaling business was going, but I had one problem. I was an Army officer. I had no time to be meeting sellers, meeting buyers, holding open houses. So I was searching for more answers. I was like, there's got to be an easier way, a better way. So I was mailing the tax delinquent list per Tom's advice, but I was throwing away all the land stuff. I was throwing away all the land records, and I wasn't mailing the land owners. And I heard this guy on a podcast, and he was like talking about how he's buying this land at pennies on the dollar and turning around and selling it for massive profit. And I was like, holy cow, I've got a list of landowners. So I had 687 records that were tax delinquent. It was all land, vacant land. I mailed them. My phone received almost 85 phone calls in the first couple weeks. And I only had time to answer maybe 20 of them. Out of those 20 phone calls that I returned, I did 2 profitable deals of net profit of over $4,500 each. The rest is history.
What was the net profit on? I'm sorry.
So each one, I did 2 deals within like 2 weeks, and each one of them netted me $4,500 net profit. on
Damn,
both of
that's
those land
amazing. Off
deals.
600 something records that you didn't even, you only answered 20 of the 60 some calls.
Exactly.
Crazy. And just haven't looked back since.
I haven't looked back since. And you know, obviously I'm continuing the process. We're improving it every day. But now, I mean, we've done over 259 land deals. I have over 100 notes paying me each month. A note is basically just we've done a contract for the land I've sold, and they're paying me each month. Sometimes some of them are up to 30 years. So I now know what my income's going to look like. You know, my biggest thing as a wholesaler, as a flipper, was one, going and meeting these sellers and having the time to spend with them, kneecap to kneecap, spending time on their stinky old couch, the cat pee house, or whatever I was trying to buy, and the emotion that they had with this, you know, selling this house that they've owned for many years, or their husband died. I didn't have that with land. I didn't have to meet the sellers. Most of the time they were overstate or out of the state or overseas. And I just didn't see that emotion. I didn't have to meet them. It was more of a virtual business. And also every deal I did made my income larger, because if we add, say, $500 a month and then another one for $600 a month, that just added $1,100 to my passive income a month for the next 7 years.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. It reminds me a little bit, a reminder just from talking to other land investors before, how different land buyers can be. I'm right here, as I told you, visiting some family in Asheville on a 7-acre property. There's mountains, grass all over the place. And there's these people that own land right by here that just come and recreationally shoot guns and weapons and stuff about once a week. So it's funny. My family just hears people shooting, guns miles away, but they bought land specifically, or they use the land kind of like that, like kind of maybe how some of your buyers are. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's talk about the land business as a whole, and maybe what a typical land deal looks like, maybe where you're on a note getting paid for the next 30 years, next 7 years, things like that. So how much different is the land business than the single family? You alluded that you got some opportunities after listening to a dude on a podcast and just doing some direct mail marketing. They were able to get some opportunities. So to start off, what is the land business that you're in look like as far as marketing strategy and how you get paid off it?
Yeah, let's break it down. So, I'm in multiple counties now, but I really started my own backyard. And, what I'm seeing with my students, the ones that are like, having success right off the bat within like the first 28 to 45 days, they're picking an area kind of in their own backyard, within like a 2-hour radius, like a 2-hour circle, because that gives you some confidence. You can meet that seller if you need to. You can meet that buyer if you need to collect the cash or put signs out or take pictures, whatever. My office manager just bought us a drone, so I'm super excited about it. We have a professional photographer that goes out and takes drone videos and all that, but I just want to play with it. Just see, because we've had drone footage for like years of our land, and I've never actually seen one fly until just this weekend. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
I'm hooked. But so that's kind of what the process looks. We pick our playground, and then we pick a list. We actually look for the landowners. That's our list. Those are our people we want to talk to, whether it be the tax delinquent list, or, you hit the super easy button and go to priced.com. I've got an amazing, I don't know if you want me to share my link, but it gets 7-day free trial and 400 free records. Like, your listeners can be mailing tonight if they want to.
Absolutely.
It's priced.com/the land sharks, PRYCD.com/the land sharks.
And guys, hit the wholesalinginc.com/land and www.landsharks.com link in the description of this interview as well, just to pull this up while Brent is breaking everything down for you guys. And go ahead on that. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries. Feel free. So basically that gets a 7-day free trial. And what's so cool about that is they give you your first 400 records free just to try it out. And what's awesome is these guys are Air Force. The guys are both in the Air Force, the owners of price.com, and they're land investors themselves. So they're like doing this, and they pride themselves on customer service. Like, they'll get back with you in 24 hours, but they tell you what the land is worth. They show you how to break out your offer. Like, if you want to offer 5 cents on the dollar or 10, 15, 20 cents on the dollar, you can download the Excel file and be mailing tonight. So that's the next step, is actually mailing a letter of some sort to these landowners. So pick your playground, get a list, and start communicating with landowners. And I generally am getting land at 20, 30, 50 cents on the dollar.
Mm-hmm. How different is the motivation with land or reason for selling at a discount than single family?
I would say that the main one is that we talked about, they're not emotional about it. And two, it's kind of like that example you just gave me of your parents, the land that's owned next door to them. So many people go on vacation one time to North Carolina or to Colorado or Florida, and they're like, this is beautiful. Let's buy some land. One day we're going to build a cabin. One day we're going to build a house. We just wanted to park our RV on it. And they never go back for 20 years. And they've been paying the taxes for 20 years. And eventually someone dies, something changes, someone gets divorced, or they're just so tired of having that monkey on their back of paying those taxes, and they just stop. That just is a huge red flag for us, saying, hey, we don't want this land anymore. And I just want to do a disclaimer. That's not the only land we buy, but that's just kind of one example. As far as the motivation, most of the time it's not like, hey, we're about to lose it other than to back taxes. But I would say it's just more of an unemotional disconnect or not attached to it. And they're just willing, like, yep, whatever. I mean, I've literally had someone give me a piece of land for free that we wholesaled and made a $27,000 assignment fee on it. I mean, those are the kind of deals we do. I've never had anybody just give me a house.
And a lot less competition with land than single family, wholesalers, direct selling marketing type arena.
There's virtually no competition in land. And I'll tell you why. Most of your listeners have probably driven by land in the last 2 weeks, and they probably haven't looked twice at it because there's no single family home on it. There's no mobile home park. There's no storage facilities. There's nothing they can rent out besides the land. The reason why I'm making money on land is because I'm buying it at such a massive discount, and I turn around and sell it at a premium and retail price because I'm offering the land and the easy financing. And when I'm offering both of those things, I'm able to sell it for retail plus add interest to it.
Love that. For comping out the land price, I know some of these deals, like the example you just said, you pretty much were just given it and made a $27K assignment fee. I want to hear a little bit. I guess we can close the loop on marketing. You're doing the direct mail. Are you doing anything else marketing these land people, you and your students?
No, I prefer direct mail because it allows me a lifestyle design. I took that from Tim Ferriss.
Okay.
It allows me to receive these offer letters back signed in the mail, email, fax. Sometimes they do call, but I don't really want them calling. Some of my students will send a postcard and they'll get a phenomenal, crazy response rate. But I don't want a bunch of phone calls. I would just prefer to receive signed purchase agreements back. And I have 10 of these things. I have 10 to look at and be like, all right, I don't have time for these 5. I'm gonna put them in this desk drawer. I'm gonna look at these 5 and be like, which one are we gonna net the most profit? It's kind of like when I was going to the dance in middle school. I had to ask 10 girls to get one yes. Well, the girls, They just had 10 guys asking them. So that's kind of what I want. I want my students, I want them to be able to pick between 10 land deals when they're doing their first one and be like, well, this one's going to make me $2,000 profit. This one's going to make me $4,500. This one should make me about $50,000. I'm going to do this one first.
That's hilarious and also very, very amazing metaphor or comparison there. That's very funny. And it's interesting that the land people that we've had on the show before and talked to, it seems like that's the strategy is a direct mail offer just right off the bat, which I love that. You're kind of filtering out motivation or how likely you'll get a timed, monetization opportunity with the seller of land by just straight up mailing them out an offer. What does that calculation look like when you're sending that out? If you want to give over a brief due diligence, there's a lot of stuff I want to ask and pick your brain on here, but I think that's good to kind of get an idea there.
Let's do it. Yeah. So I generally, when I'm going into a new market, I want to start at like 20 or 30 cents on the dollar. Whenever I was a kid and we'd go fishing out in Florida, and there were times the things wouldn't connect. So there'd be like these puddles water, where the fish starving to death. You could literally your hook without any bait and rip up a huge bass. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of what I want to do with the 20 cents on the dollar. Because if I can get a piece of land under contract, I want to get this asset under contract for 20 cents on the dollar. rather than at 50 cents on the dollar. I want to test the waters first and see if I can catch a fish without a hook. And then I move up as, conversion rate tells me to. I don't care about response. I want to see what they accept. Now let's do another example. We were talking about Miami, Florida before we started recording here. Mm-hmm. I am probably never going to get away with getting a piece of land in Miami, Florida for less than like 60 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar. And I'm probably going to have to send out about demand area turn into a seller's market in the last 14 months, something called COVID. I believe that's what caused it. People are wanting to spread out and build and this and that. But if we're talking about like land in Arizona in the desert where there's no water, there's no electric, there's no anything, get that stuff dollar, and then you're probably like, who would buy it? Well, there's plenty of people out there that RV, they want to cook the Walter White stuff, you name it. Like there's a buyer for every piece of land.
Love it, man. I love it. Loving the answers here. Very, very good stuff. So we got the marketing down, doing direct to seller marketing. Sometimes you're throwing down, 20%, almost getting engaged in the landscape, especially for you and your students if you're entering new markets. Let's talk a little bit how you're making money here, because obviously we know the straight up assignment. You get that signed, you get the 10 signed offers back. You choose what girl you're potentially interested in, and then go with that. And then you can assign that out to a buyer, maybe somebody that's shooting guns or Walter White cooking up some crystal blue there. What do the finance deals look like, and why are those so appealing to you?
It goes to the top 5 reasons why Brent Bowers loves them. I actually did this with Chris. He's the one that kind of created it. He's like, what are the 5 reasons you love land? And I was just like, 1, financial freedom. It gave me financial freedom I never would have dreamed of. 2, which is, I think it's really my number 1. It's only number 2 because I had to come up with a second one. Or like in the book Winning, everything is number 1. But number 2 would be time freedom. Time freedom, because when my team does, like for instance, like 2 weeks ago, we did 9 land deals in 1 week. Miss Helen, our land specialist, sold 9 parcels of land in 1 week. And each one of those parcels of land got an average of a little over something dollars. Well, 9 deals at $200 a month, that's $1,800 a month extra coming into our pockets every single month for the next like 7 years. So that's why I'm so excited about them, because it's like a friend of mine, Alan, told me, he goes, sawdust shavings really large piles. And I got him in the land business. And it's all about just the piles adding up. Before you know it, you got $40,000, $50,000 a month coming in land payments.
That's amazing, man. That's absolutely amazing. So what's kind of your plan moving forward? I guess let me ask, what got you into coaching? Obviously you said you done, at this point, I believe you said you done over 250 deals. You got plenty of time freedom. Part of the reason a big reason why you structure your business from the Tim Ferriss DNA that you have is for time freedom, lifestyle design, hanging in Colorado, moving back to Florida. What got you into the coaching?
Tom Kroll, I think he's been talking to me about coaching since like 2007, when I kind of shared with them my model, what I was doing, and I was helping people for free. I had a meetup since probably 2018. I just enjoyed seeing people do things. I just seen what he did with it. So I would say, 1, Tom Kroll, and him actually showing me how to develop a course to help people. We built it around 16 live students. I sold it before I even built it. And, this was all per instruction from Tom Kroll. But what got me into coaching was I was already doing it for free. And then he just showed me a way to do it and monetize it and actually make money. Yes, I get paid to coach. And I love time freedom. I now have tons of passive income, but that does not mean that I'm not still building something. My butt's always burning. I'm always going. I was out of bed this morning at 4 a.m. writing content for the YouTube channel. So, just because I'm not retired, I'm still going hard. And, it's something super gratifying seeing like a brand new student. Like, I'll give an example. He's made money in like 30 days. His friends all said, you should go to college. He said, no, I'm not going to college. Well, now he's getting to prove those friends wrong, that he just made more in 30 days, almost equal to, like, they're spending 30 grand a year on college. He just made 45,000 in 30 days. So
Amazing.
Things like that, that's what got me into coaching, just seeing people have success.
Amazing. I want to make sure I ask you, what's the best place to listen to your interviews or any type of interactions you have with land students or other people in the land space?
Definitely the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Probably the best place to go and listen.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. Well, I love that. What kind of goals and aspirations do you have moving forward with land, coaching, family business? I did give a little sneak peek from what you told me before we started recording that you have aspirations to move back to Florida, the Sunshine State. But what kind of stuff do you have on your radar moving forward? And I can just tell the energy and enthusiasm. I absolutely love it.
You know what? As far as on my radar, the goal, and I'm actually nervous to put this out. We're trying to hit 100,000 a month in passive income payments from land.
Let's go.
So I would say that's probably the biggest goal, because that's not just going to change my life. That's changing my team's life. I mean, they've got passive income. I mean, this is not because of Brent Bowers. Like, this is not because of me. Like, I have a team doing this. Like, they're running this stuff. They're like, we built the buying machine and the selling machine, as Mark Podolsky would say. He's also a land
other land
coach.
guy interviewed. Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome guy.
Good guy. But, you know, that's it. Once you build these machines, you put the systems in place, it's all automated. And then, I mean, don't confuse automation with delegation. Like, if you can have a machine or automatically, don't delegate it to a person. And that's, if I can give any advice to the listener, you know, start building a team. Like, you might think, I don't have the money. Well, lay your cards out, open your palms, and tell people where you're currently at, and do what you do best and hire out the rest. Like, obviously, I'm not the guy that's talking to buyers and talking to sellers every day. I was terrible at that. I couldn't stand talking to buyers because they asked the same question over and over, and it wasn't their fault they were asking that question. I just got bored answering the same question.
Mm-hmm. Break down for me a little bit what the financing deals look like, with just a kind of like a general layout to get to 100,000 a month in passive income. What does that look like when you're selling the deals, like the financing notes and stuff?
Yeah, our average deal brings us in about $615 a month the last time I looked. So, you know, we can do the math really quick. You know, if I'm trying to get to $100,000 a month, 100,000 divided by $615, I've got to have 162 land notes. That's totally doable. Let's break that down. Let's just say I'm going to give myself 12 months to do that. Divide that 162 by 12. That's 13 a month. Let's divide that by eight land deals a week. It's totally possible. Like, we're exploring 30-year now, 30-year mortgages. Like, people ask me, why would you do a 30-year mortgage? You're going to be like 65 when that thing's paid off. Well, here's the thing. Banks are pretty smart. They're the biggest buildings in every city in every state. There's a reason why they're that big. They're doing so well because the first 5 to 7 years on a mortgage is completely interest only. And they know that people move every 5 to 7 years. It's actually less than that now. So if someone finances this land for 7 years from me and they pay it off because they got a loan to build a house on it and the bank pays me off, well, that's 7 years I was pretty much collecting interest only. The worst thing they can do is pay me off. Well, not really, because then I'll take that money and buy another piece of land with it.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So I don't know if that explained my financing method, but we do
I love it.
Easy down payment and affordable monthly payment.
Yeah, I love it, man. What's the easiest way? This is kind of my last question here before we start putting a bow on this thing. What's the easiest way for a wholesaler, single family wholesaler listening to this, to monetize a land opportunity that comes across their pipeline, whether it's in their marketing, outreach, or whatever? If a seller happens to have a piece of land.
You know what? I love that, because I'll use Joseph's example. He's a wholesaler. He's been with now. I think one of the deals, it was actually a house that he went in to buy, and then found out the seller had a lot right next door, a cell number, and he purchased that lot for $2,000. He got it under contract and then wholesaled that. He assigned that contract. He sold the contract for $24,000. So he got a quick $1,000 additional profit on that one deal. He kind of got a 2-for-1. He already paid for the marketing for his house side, got that house under contract, but that land deal was almost like a freebie. If that were me setting that, yes, I love getting a $22,000 net profit immediately. I probably would have gotten a down payment from a buyer for $2,000 or $3,000 and then held that financing as long as possible and sold purely retail price, because he wholesaled that to a guy that builds maybe a couple houses a year. Who's going to pay more? The guy that's buying, 3 or 4 or 5 lots a year, or the guy that buys one lot in their entire life to build their dream home on it?
Yeah. Amazing, man. Amazing. I love that your emphasis, you're just full long-term vision, building up the passive income. Well on your way to the 100K a month goal there. Yeah, I love it.
That's it. And I'll tell you what, another reason why I didn't realize this would help me so much, but the coaching has actually helped my business because I get to hang out with sharp, equally minded entrepreneurs. Like, they're always telling me of cool tools, cool things, cool marketing. Hey, have you looked into this? So I'm kind of like on the cutting edge. I get to see what like other tools there are out there. That's how I found Priced. Was one of my students brought it to me.
Yeah, fully in the know and always, just being fully in the know and kind of having a pulse on what people are having success with and new innovations and things like that. It's a huge part of, being able to adapt or experiment with different marketing, whatever aspect of the business, and see where you can optimize, and always looking to optimize and make things more efficient. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you in podcasting, you're always on the cutting edge.
Trying to, man. Trying to. Want to hear, so I have this I'm going to have this in the show notes. I have wholesalinginc.com/land and landsharks.com. That's the best place to reach out to you and talk to you. And tell me a little about the coaching program, what that looks like getting started.
Yep, it's landsharks.com. We couldn't get landsharks, so we had to get the landsharks.com.
Gotcha. I'll make sure I have that.
Coaching looks like, it's very similar to the Wholesaling Inc. Coaching model. It's video modules. It's daily all wins. They really turn into it, a gigantic win. The 100K a month for me is a series of small wins constantly. We got to get 3.16 parcels of land sold each week. So I have to backwards plan that. So that's exactly how the course is set up. Modules, I think the longest module is 16 minutes. And that's a video. Having to have a full-time job to get this business off the ground. I mean, I was an Army officer. I was on base AM, and I didn't get home till like 7 most of the time. So I had to do this in a very limited window. And I remember that when I was starting out, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any time. So that's the way the course is set up for that. And I have a lot of people that are wholesalers and investors already that join. They already have systems like InvestorFuse and Podio and these things like that. Use what you already have. Just leverage an extra stream of income, really. So the course is all laid out. It's drip fed. That way it's not overwhelming. Every Tuesday we do a Zoom call, a group Zoom call. We break down deals, we deep dive them, and then we have an amazing, amazing support group.
Mm-hmm. Love it, man. The accountability is huge. Yeah, accountability is huge. Top of class people over there at Wholesaling Inc. I'm excited for you, man. I'm very confident in the 100K a month passive income. Excited that you got the land rocking and rolling now, the coaching rocking and rolling now. But yeah, man, great stuff on here. I'm excited to have our listeners check you out online. And is there anything that you want to close with here?
No, thanks, Carlos. Appreciate you being a go-giver. Thank you so much for putting this podcast on. And it's been an honor to get on here and speak with you.
Yeah, man. A pleasure and privilege. I'm looking forward to you hitting the 100K and wishing you massive success and happiness, man. And good luck moving back to Florida here, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, it's going to be an adventure. Thanks, Carlos, so much.
My pleasure, man. Have a great day, guys.